Welcome back, guys, to Bald Father Bets. We'll do a quick recap of last night, Monday Night Football, and then just give final thoughts on college football week 3 as we move into week 4. But first, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so you know when we upload our videos, our posts. Sometimes we upload pretty close until kickoff. And then also show the video some love, like, share, comment. Let me know your guys' thoughts on the state of college football right now. Who do you think's doing well? Who do you think's not living up to performance? What do you like in terms of angles in the betting world moving forward? So last night, though, quick recap, Monday Night Football, we had 3 units on the Texans and we had 3 units on the Raiders. So that's 0-6. Wrong side on both of them, too. So, yes, and the way that the game went, we should have won the Texans, because when you have a 19-14 lead and you have someone 4th and 8 with less than 2 minutes left, you should close that out and get the win. But if you look at the overall game, first downs, yards, the fact that the Texans had to block a punt, the fact that the Texans had to have Tampa Bay miss a field goal, Tampa Bay was the correct side, and they deserved to win, and that side deserved to cover the +2. And then in the Chargers-Raiders, the Raiders were dead upon arrival. Geno looked really bad. Arm strength is never something that you'd ever question with Geno before. He had one of the strongest arms, but on some of those deep out routes, I don't know if it was just that the corners were reading it so well, but it looked like he just didn't have enough juice on it, and then the Chargers corners had enough time to come in and make a play on it. And if Geno doesn't have the deep out route, if Geno doesn't have the deep ball, it isn't like he's a great short intermediate game passer, right? So they were dead upon arrival. They didn't run the ball enough either, and when they did have their opportunities in the red zone, they kicked 3 field goals rather than scoring any touchdowns. And then also the Chargers. Herbert is crisp. He's fully adapted now to the Greg Roman system. They've married it to him as well. They're definitely a fantastic team. We'll talk more about kind of our thoughts on them, on the Chiefs, them 2-0, Chiefs 0-2. What are the thoughts on the AFC West tomorrow on our NFL recap video. But so today, talking about college football previous week, just some thoughts. We'll start with some of our bigger games. So in the morning time, you had that Alabama-Wisconsin game. Alabama played focused, and when they play focused, you still see where their overall college team composite ranking comes in, of having one of the most talented rosters in the country. And then you see some of the coaching prowess, especially now of having Ryan Grubb back at offensive coordinator, come in for Alabama. I thought their offensive line played very well, which was, I thought, a non-negotiable for Alabama coming into the season, that obviously did not act as a non-negotiable in their first game against Florida State. And then Wisconsin just didn't have the horses to hang. Really much looking forward to the Alabama-Georgia game, because I'm still not ready to move on 100% from what I saw against Florida State with Alabama, but I told you guys after that I didn't know if they would be okay. I think we can at least say that they're going to be okay. I don't think you're going to have some disaster imploding season from Alabama, but that doesn't necessarily mean we think that they're SEC or national championship contender just yet either. We really need to see that against the likes of a Georgia, Tennessee. This stretch of games that Alabama has coming up is tough, and we need to see it. Then the other morning game, so Georgia Tech, Clemson. Wasn't surprised at all by the outcome. Obviously we were on Georgia Tech, so we weren't surprised. I thought that's a difficult matchup for Clemson on the road with the injury struggles they have. With all that being said, I still like Clemson to win the ACC, and people may say I'm crazy with how Miami's looked, but I want to see Clemson when they get Antonio Williams back. We're actually going to lay out 4 more picks for this week at the end of this video for college, and Clemson's one of them, as I expect them to get Antonio Williams back. I want to see that offense in week 9 or 10 after the offensive line has had time to kind of settle in along with the run game. And I want to see the offense when they're not asking K to do everything. I think Clemson, given their schedule remaining the year and given they don't play Miami, has a very good chance to make it to the ACC title game, depending obviously on what happens with Miami and Georgia Tech. If both of them go undefeated in ACC play, then this is a moot point. I tend to lean more towards it's very difficult to go undefeated. I don't think Georgia Tech or Miami is going undefeated in ACC play, but we'll see what happens. They do only play 8 conference games, so obviously there's a chance that they could. But I still like Clemson. I think from a futures market, you're getting a really good number on them, both to make the playoff as well as to win the ACC. Because at this point, Clemson's only making the playoff if they win the ACC. They're not. I mean, maybe if they went out, went 10-2, and missed the ACC title game, you could get 3 ACC teams in there. They'd have to look really good though doing it, and I don't know if they're going to look great. I don't know if they're going to be like a sexy team moving forward. So anyway. Afternoon games, so thoughts. Georgia, Tennessee, wow, what a game. We went into that thing and we said, this has been building. This is year 4 of how this thing's been building. And finally last year, Tennessee made Georgia throw to beat them. And we said, so the first question is, can Tennessee make Georgia throw to beat them? 1. And then 2, if that does happen, with what Tennessee has missing at cornerback, at defensive line, an offensive tackle without an impact the defense, do we think that they could actually stop Gunnar Stockton from getting it done? Because some people seem to think that Gunnar Stockton's not an efficient passer, but he is. Answer to A was Tennessee still really made Georgia throw to beat them. If you didn't have the passing game, Georgia doesn't win that game. But answer to question B is Gunnar Stockton was able to do it. Now, what kept Tennessee in that game when Georgia retook the lead, and then what gave Tennessee the edge in that game where they probably should have won, was Tennessee was able to really score on Georgia too, both running and throwing the football, especially with the big play margin. They very much so won the big play margin. I think if that game gets played again on a neutral site, you're going to give edge to Georgia, because it's difficult to replicate those types of big plays over, and you saw Georgia have more sustainable drives, I thought, throughout that game. But that was a phenomenal game. I like where both those teams are at moving forward. I don't really have concern about either. And Tennessee has a very workable schedule the rest of the year. They absolutely could get through the rest of the year with only dropping one more game, going 10-2, and getting back to the playoff. Georgia has a very tough schedule, but they're Georgia. So, and you saw a little bit of, at the end, when it truly came time to slay the dragon, Georgia saying, yeah, but we're Georgia. And it's very tough to beat that team. It always is. It will be for as long as Kirby has the current regime going the way he does. Also in the afternoon, I think we had Miami, USF. We had Ohio State, Ohio. We had Texas, UTEP. We didn't plays on all those games, so just games that were going on. I think Ohio State fans need to calm down. I don't understand what this concern is, that they, didn't beat Ohio by enough. Ohio's a really good team. Ohio just beat West Virginia. Ohio's probably going to be in the MAC championship again. Probably a good chance they play Toledo. Ohio's a really good team. People need to calm down about that. I told you guys coming out of the Texas game, I thought there were some things that weren't going to get talked about Ohio State, especially offensively, especially running the ball. Maybe in terms of what you're going to be able to ask Sayin to do throughout the year that no one talked about because Ohio State won the game, and the key talking points coming out of that game was Arch and then the Ohio State defense, as they should have been. But Ohio State's fine. I don't understand this concern for them because of the Ohio game got close at one point. Who cares? It was 13-9 for a while. It doesn't matter. Miami, USF, there's not much to say. We thought that was a really bad matchup for USF. It was kind of everything that Miami did well, USF had difficulty going up against from an offense or a defensive standpoint. I think people are getting way too high on Miami now. We'll talk about Notre Dame, A&M, and I'll hear in a little bit, but you saw then what Notre Dame's defense did at a second go-around. And again, that was a matchup game for Miami and USF. It wasn't ever going to go well for USF. People are way too high on Miami at this point. They need to. I'm not saying they're not a good team. I think Miami's a top 15 team in the country, maybe top 10. But people got them in their top 5. People got them guaranteed lock, win ACC, college football playoff, semifinal, national championship game. Everybody needs to relax a little bit with that. Gonna have some really good opportunities for Miami throughout the rest of the year. Love the game that we have this weekend with Florida and Miami. Love the fact that they get a game against Florida State. We have some really good games coming up with them, but I just pump the brakes a little bit. I do think they're a very good team, but no need to get overvalued after the Notre Dame and the USF result. Texas, Arch Jane's a sports psychologist or something. It's a hunt. You can see it's clearly 100% mental. And for the people who say, like, no, he's just not a good quarterback, he started two games and came in one game last year. I think against UTEP. It's either against UTEP or UTSA. Might have been UTSA. And he didn't. Arch looked fine. Like, he wasn't missing people. He started a game against Mississippi State, which has a better defense than San Jose State, or especially against UTEP last year, and he was very efficient. He was very good. He said it himself. Like, he's never had an issue with accuracy. He needs a sports psychologist. Something has happened where the pressure of everything that people were throwing on him to begin the year, of like anointing him as the next greatest football player of all time, it has caught. He even looks different. Like, his demeanor, he doesn't have his confidence. He looks like he's trying too hard to live up to that, rather than just having fun and being him. He needs a sports psychologist. We'll see how far the Texas defense can carry them until Arch is able to break out of whatever this is. And at some point, if he can't break out of it, then what's going to be best for him and what's going to be best for Texas, unfortunately, is going to be that he transfers. So he can get a fresh start somewhere, mentally regroup, and then Texas, my God, Texas can move on too. Hold on. Okay, we're back. So that Texas can move on too. I don't think it's going to come to that. Just kind of looking at, I think you're going to see Texas have to call 2 to 4 design runs a quarter over the next few games, until they're gonna have to run Arch a lot more than they initially wanted to. A, help them get comfortable, but B, just to win the games. I think Texas's defense appears that they are in the top 2 or 3 defenses in the country. That seems like it's a check the box on that. So I think you can probably get through. You obviously can get through Sam Houston. You can probably get through the Florida game with just defense, depending on how they go with Lagway. I don't think you can beat OU with just defense, the way Mateer is playing. So you really need him to wake up over the course of the next 3 weeks, one of those being a bye week. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I would tell you Texas is another team that I would buy stock in now, just while it's low. I think you could get some good numbers on them to make the playoff. You could get some good numbers on them for SEC championship. I would buy stock in them now. I don't think there's another SEC defense that really scares me the way Texas's scares me. Georgia won that game, but they clearly are a shell of themselves defensively, what they were in 21-22. Alabama, they may have a great secondary, but I'm still a little concerned with them in terms of tackling against teams with a good rushing attack. OU maybe has the second best defense in the Big 12, which is scary for them because of the way that offense is playing. OU's good, man. So we'll monitor. I just think Texas futures aren't the worst thing here in the world. They also have an easier schedule. Them and Tennessee, like if you look at Texas's and Tennessee's SEC schedule compared to OU, Florida, or Georgia's SEC schedule, they're not really in the same category. So they just have some built-in advantages that could help, that gives you value on that ticket, just like there's value on that Clemson ticket right now. Evening games, Florida LSU. I feel bad almost. I almost feel bad for Napier. I feel bad for Lagway. I mean, that thing was like, those picks in the fourth quarter were. I mean, you can say what you want about Arch's struggles. Lagway also needs a sports psych. There is something. I mean, he doesn't even look. He doesn't even look like himself. He looks so defeated. It's really sad. Again, LSU, people have them AP like top 3 stuff. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. LSU's a good team, and Blake Baker is the MVP so far of the LSU season. That offense has issues. We thought they did after the Clemson game. That offense has issues, and not to the extent that Florida or Texas has offensive issues right now, but they don't have something that they can point to. Like Florida and Texas's offensive issues right now are because Arch and Lagway have something mentally that they're going through. LSU doesn't really have anything like that. They just may not be that good on the offensive line. So there's concern there from that standpoint with LSU. Notre Dame and A&M, wow. I don't think you didn't answer the question of is A&M who they think they are in terms of being able to because Notre Dame has been a shell of themselves physically. So it's like, is A&M this team who's going to out-physical everyone they play? No, you didn't answer that question. What you answered was Marcel Reed. Absolutely, that's the best game he's ever had passing the ball. And it wasn't just first read, open guy, throw it. It was go through your progression. It was make difficult throws over the middle, in traffic, make difficult throws on the run, command the offense. Marcel Reed absolutely would appear he took the next step this offseason when it comes to passing. And we've been saying for a while, if he did that, A&M is very dangerous. A&M's a very, very tough out for anyone. They're a very good team. They have a lot of talent, and they have a lot of talent at the line of scrimmage. And now it would appear that they have a quarterback that can maximize like Casey Concepcion and some of the things that they have out on the outside. I like this A&M team as much as I hate it. I hate A&M, but they're good, and that's something that has to be known as we move forward. That's pretty much it in terms of final thoughts. So I mean, like where we're at looking into next week, we got a ton of bangers. We got a ton of bangers over the course of the next few weeks. College football is so great with the schedule. That's one thing, man. The NFL schedule early on, it's like you only get like 3 or 4 games a week that you love. With college, you're getting like 8 every week. It's pretty awesome. We are adding 4 picks today and stretching out one of our units on another. I'm just trying to make sure there's no other final thoughts from the previous week before we go into it. I think that's really it. Yeah, from a futures outlook, I'd buy stock in Texas and Clemson right now while you can. Sadly, I'd probably sell on Florida. I just don't think that they get that turned around. Napier didn't lose the program last year. I think there's a chance he loses the program this year. This looks a little bad. Looks a little scary. Yeah. Oh, and I would sell on Notre Dame. I know there's all this talk that Notre Dame isn't going 10-2. Notre Dame isn't going 10-2. They got everyone's like, oh yeah, they just got to get through these next games. They play at Arkansas. That's not a guaranteed win. They play USC. That's not a guaranteed win. And they play Boise State. That's not a guaranteed win. I don't see them getting through those 3 games 3-0. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they do. But I don't see them getting through those games 3-0. So we'll see what happens. Okay. Games we are adding. We've already given you 4 bets for College Football Saturday this upcoming week. We are adding 4 more, and we're stretching the units on one of the ones that we already made. So we are adding SMU plus 7.5 against TCU. That is too many points for a very heated rivalry. If people don't understand that one, like SMU and TCU are both in Dallas. TCU's in Fort Worth, but that is a very heated one. SMU deserved to win that game against Baylor. That is didn't. 7 points is, and I think what people have in their mind is TCU just blowing UNC off the board the first Monday night of college football. You guys, UNC is awful. UNC is ass. So that you don't need to make anything of that. This is a much different team. They're going up against SMU. We like Jennings. We like the SMU team. We love Rhett Lashley, obviously. But 7.5 is just too many. So 7.5 for 2 units with SMU. Clemson minus 17 for 2 units against Syracuse. I like what Clemson is bringing back in terms of getting healthy. I think you'll see inspired play from them, and my lord, Syracuse doesn't look good. I don't understand this public love affair with Syracuse. It's pretty wild. And they look terrible, but all of a sudden people like Syracuse up against Clemson this next week. It's an interesting conundrum that I'm seeing from a lot of the pundits. So yeah, Clemson minus 17. This is a mismatch. Clemson should wipe Syracuse off the face of the earth this weekend. They're not in the same category with each other. This line should be like 24, 21 at least, 20.5. So the other one we're adding also in that noon early window, Utah minus 2.5 against TCU for 5 units. I'm blown away that we got this. I mean, this game came out Utah minus 4.5, got bet down to 4. I understood sharps betting it down with getting Tech plus the 4.5. 8 getting all the way down to 2.5 with Utah and Dampier at home. I don't know if you guys know what Utah's home record is under Whittingham. It's amazing. That is one of the toughest places to play. Texas Tech traveling west out there. This is a tough spot for Tech. And don't get me wrong, I know Tech is like ranked, I think, second in run defense or something like that this year so far. They haven't really played much. And Dampier in Utah is another animal. And I'll take Whittingham to lose at home very rarely. I get that Tech probably from a roster standpoint is a little bit superior. Utah from a program standpoint is superior to Tech. McGuire has not had the time to put in place anything close to what Whittingham has. I'm not saying if these two teams play each other in the Big 12 championship game neutral site, I wouldn't come back over the top on Tech. I'm saying that for this week, Fox Big Noon kickoff at home in Utah, I like Utah here, and we're doing that one for 5 units because that 2.5 is key. I'm a little shocked that we're getting that. So anyway, and then the last one that we're adding is Arizona State plus the 3 against Baylor for 2 units. A little bit of overreaction to Arizona State losing to Mississippi State. Mississippi State is a much better team this year than people are going to give them credit for. They're much bigger than people realize. One of the bigger offensive and defensive lines in the country. That game was a night game in Starkville with all the cowbells. That's a different animal for teams. The Mississippi State can get people in that setting. They've almost gotten Lane Kiffin, almost got them last year, and they were terrible. They're like the worst team ever. So I like Arizona State with a bounce back here. I'm not uber confident in it. It's kind of similar to the Nebraska plus. It's a number thing. Like, as much as anything, I'm betting the number because I actually really like Sawyer Robinson and Baylor. So it wouldn't surprise me if Baylor won the game. But this is a game where either team that you could get plus 3, that's what you're taking. Same thing as Michigan, Nebraska. Like we're on Nebraska plus the 3. We gave that one out yesterday, I think. I don't love it. I actually kind of like Michigan more in the game because of their ability to run the ball compared to Nebraska's run defense. But either team you got plus 3, that's what you had to take. Same thing with this Arizona State Baylor. I don't love it. I actually kind of like Baylor's ability to move the ball against Arizona State, both through the air and on the ground. But Arizona State has weapons, and I don't think Jordan Tyson's going to disappear the way he did for the 3/4 of the game against Mississippi State. You have Sam Leavitt. You have a very talented team in Arizona State, and they're catching 3, and so we're playing the number here with that one. Then the last thing we're doing is we're upping the units. So Indiana at -3.5, we had for 5 units. We're taking that one to 10 units. This is my favorite play of the year. It's my favorite play in a while. I probably like it more than any play we had in the NFL playoffs last year. I probably like it as much as any play we've had since Penn State, minus the 13.5 against Boise State last year. I do not think this game will be close. I do not think Illinois is in the same category as Indiana. I don't, not at all. I think this will be a blowout. I think Cignetti has a much better program. I think he has a much better team. I think Altmaier is going to be running for his life all game. And so we're taking Utah -3.5 to 10 units. I don't see, outside of injury, I don't see how this game is close. That's all I got. So thank you guys, appreciate it. That's 8 picks that we have down on the ballot now already for college football. We do not have any for the NFL. Like I said, I tend to take more time with the NFL. There's more line movement is more. It's easier for me to predict line movement in college than it is in the NFL, and line movement means more in the NFL than it does in college because scoring is more controlled. So I tend to take longer with the NFL. We'll see what happens with this Thursday night. I mean, I can already tell you guys, models and everything tell you it's too many points with Miami, but Miami might be absolutely dead as a program, or as a team, as an organization. And I just don't know if I could do it. I know my model's saying that it's too many points with Miami, and you see the line coming down because Sharp's just saying it's too many points with Miami. I just don't know if I can do it, man. That Mike McDaniel press conference was so. I mean, he looks like he's dead. The way he answered those, well, we need to score more points, and we didn't do that. I'm starting to kind of understand a little bit why the coaching fraternity doesn't like him. Would be interesting if he got fired mid-season and then went back to San Francisco to help them with some of the issues they're having offensively. But anyway, that's it. We'll get at you guys tomorrow for the NFL video. Final thoughts on NFL. But for now, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. We got 2 more days until football is played. We may have Friday picks for you this week. There's 2 games that I'm looking at, mainly Tulsa, Oklahoma State, and Rutgers, Iowa. Neither of them are in play mode yet. They're still in monitor mode, but if there is, then obviously I'll let you guys know. We'll either come at you with a video. We'll either add it to our Thursday night football video, or we will come at you with a video on Friday. But other than that, again, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Show the channel some love. Show the video some love. Love to hear your thoughts on this previous week college football as well. And you guys have a great rest of your day.